The Beatles and the Rolling Stones each are large bands from England, and they each boast a remarkable pair of key characters. If the Beatles have the duet John Lennon-Paul McCartney, who are definitely good at writing songs, then the Rolling Stones also have Mick Jagger-Keith Richards. The Beatles' rise to fame is often considered one of the wonders of the world. Think about it. There was no television or social media to help them become famous quickly, but their names became well known in no time at all. This can be referred to as different popularity. Keith Richards, the guitarist for the Rolling Stones, famously said that the Beatles were fortunate to have 4 young individuals who could sing, while the Rolling Stones only had 1. In that case, one could conclude that the Stones were envious of the Beatles. That doesn't mean that the Rolling Stones are inferior than the Beatles, though. The Rolling Stones performed their heavy blues rock and sophisticated guitar tunes. The expression, "No Jones, no Stones" came up because many people missed Brian Jones's presence so much, especially during the time when he was still a member of the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones have a frontman who is quite one of a kind. The frontman being referred to is Mick Jagger, the singer who is known for his wild dance antics on stage. There is even a song called "Moves Like Jagger" that was inspired by Jagger's wild behavior on stage. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones have been rivals since the 1960s, when fans and the media began to exaggerate their competition. The fans have come to a consensus that the Beatles are a group of well-behaved young men who wear tidy suits, while the Stones are 5 young individuals who dress in a strange way, have unkempt hair, and put on crazy performances. Despite the fact that the two bands have a competitive relationship, they are truly friends with one another. It is totally different from what the media reports, just like Mick Jagger and John Lennon. The manager's plan to increase the visibility of the two great bands was to create a competition between them, which turned out to be nothing more than a marketing gimmick. Andrew Oldham, the manager of the Stones, gave a different impression than the Beatles in order to avoid being seen as a follower. A Stones manager's remarkable ability to enhance their reputation is demonstrated by their use of promotional phrases like, "Following in the footsteps of the Beatles, now comes the second wave of Englishmen with a wilder and naughtier appearance than the Beatles." The Beatles were truly unmatched in their time when it came to musical inventiveness. It is a surprising and perplexing fact that all of the members of the Beatles were unable to read musical notes, despite the band's successes. On the other side, when the Beatles put greater emphasis on recording records in the studio, the Rolling Stones achieved similar success as a major band that frequently performed concerts both indoors and outdoors. The Stones even performed a concert that was attended by 1.5 million people. The Stones' ability to continue performing concerts from 1964 to the present day is another of their greatest accomplishments. On the other hand, this might also cause people to become tired of watching them grow older. Unlike the Beatles, who had to disband in 1970, but it is what makes people miss their appearance that had to disband at the peak of their success.